Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a clean, professional resume in Adobe Illustrator, step by step. So let's get right on to it. Usually, both letter and A4 sizes are fit for the task, and it's entirely your choice as there's very minimal difference between their sizes. And it's just that letter is mostly used in North America, whereas A4 is more of a global standard. For this tutorial, let me use letter and hit create. The first thing I'm going to do is pick the rectangle tool and create a vertical panel on the left side of the page. And I'll be filling this panel with the information like the contact details, the education, skills, etc. So let's change the stroke size to none and add some color to it. You're free to experiment with different color combinations or choose a dull color or dark color. I'll pick this color for this panel. Now I'm going to pick the rectangle tool once again and click drag to draw a horizontal panel, which shall hold the name and even the position of the person. At the moment, I don't have a preset design on my mind. I'm just creating as we go. Okay, so I'll now change the color of this panel to differentiate the two panels. And let's now add a circle here. So let's pick the ellipse tool. And then holding Shift and Alt on a PC or Shift and Option on a Mac, click and drag outwards to make a perfect circle. Holding Shift constrains the proportions, so instead of an oval, you get a perfect circle. And holding Alt or Option at the same time draws the shape from the center outward instead of from the corner where you first clicked. Let's now place the circle at the right place. To perfectly center align it to the rectangle, I am going to hold Shift and click on both the shapes to select them. Then release the Shift key because I've made my selection. And then mouse click the shape you'd like to align the other shape to. So in our case, I want to align the circle to this rectangle. So after I've selected both of them, I am going to click the rectangle once again. And you should see the rectangle getting highlighted in blue. So click the vertical align center button from the panel on top or on the right. Optionally, for the circle, we can add a stroke. So let's add a 2-point stroke. And let's change the color to white. The next thing we'll do is add an image to the circle. So let's go to File and then Place and locate the image from the computer. And then just click and drag to place it on the artboard. At the moment, you can see that the image has a big blue cross on top of it, which means at the moment, Illustrator is just pointing to the file on my computer. So to make the image fully part of the document, all we need to do is click the embed button that's sitting on top, and you shall find the blue cross vanishing in no time. And it also means that your file size has just gotten bigger because of the image. To place the image into the circle, let's bring the circle closer to the image and ensure that the placement of the shape is set on top. And how do we do that? Just right-click on the shape and go to Arrange and then select the Bring to Front option. You can even use the shortcut Shift Control and right bracket or Shift Command and right bracket to achieve this. Let's move the shape to cover the top of the image. Now holding Shift, select the shape as well as the image, and then right-click and select Make Clipping Mask option, and the image shall be clipped to the shape. If you want to make further adjustments to the image placement, double-click the image, which will take you to the isolation mode, at which point you can click drag to move the image as per your requirement. To come out of the isolation mode, simply click the arrow on top left as illustrated. You can find that the white stroke around the circle has vanished after we clipped the image, and it happened because Illustrator doesn't treat it as a real area to clip with. So ideally, I should have expanded the stroke first, which would have converted it into a filled shape. So Illustrator would recognize it in the clipping mask. No worries, we'll do something else to beautify our circle a little later. Let's center align the image vertically to the rectangle, much like we did earlier. So you see the basic structure is ready. All we need to do now is to add the details. Let's pick the type tool and click once on the rectangle and type in an imaginary name. Let's enlarge the text. Also change the font color to white for better visibility. And let's also change the font to something more stylish. I think this one looks nice, so I'll go with it. Now, I'm going to make a copy of the text by holding Alt or Option and then click dragging the text. Let's give the woman a position. So let's make her the chief engineer. Sorry, I couldn't think of anything else. So if chief engineer is not your cup of tea, just give her whatever profile makes you happy. Let's also change the font of this text. All right, let's add the word objective and add a stroke underneath. And change the color of the stroke to dark gray. Now let's add some text for the objective. There are two ways to add text, and I'm going to demonstrate both. Let's do it the difficult way first. So I'm going to click once to add the text, and then copy-paste text from ChatGPT, and then rearrange the text into different lines using the Enter key. I'll also change the font and font size for this text. So you see, with this method, I had to do a lot of rearranging of text and pushing it from one line to another to fit it within the space. So yeah, the job got done, but it's not recommended. I'll show you the second way, which is by using the text box to add a paragraph like this in just a few minutes. And it's a much simpler method. Anyway, let's align this paragraph to the heading. Perfect. Now I'm going to select the whole thing and using the Alt or Option key, drag a copy of it down. Let's change the heading to Work Experience. In fact, let's change this heading to all caps as well. So I'm going to change the text to include the date of employment, and then we can add the name of the company. Now, this is the second way of adding text. So with the type tool selected, let's click and drag to create a text box. And you shall find that all our text will be constrained within the box. So I'm going to just paste the text that I've copied from ChatGPT using Ctrl-V or Command-V. Let's delete these lines between the pointers. And then click this icon under bullets and numbering to add bullets to our text. And also change the font from bold to regular. So you see how perfectly the text wrapping worked using the text box versus how we did it earlier where we had to do it all manually. Let's now copy the whole thing down using the same method we used earlier and make adjustments to the date. And in fact, I'll leave the rest of the text intact since this is just a demonstration, but I'm sure you get the idea. To fill this space, let's copy-paste the work experience paragraph down. And perhaps we can change the heading to references or any other suitable heading that you'd like to use in your resume. Since I've used references as my heading, I'll need to use the name of the person, the address, and phone number to the details. Let's use the corner handle to shorten this paragraph. And then we can use the space on the right to add another name and the rest of the details by copying and pasting this column. Let's now move to the panel on the left. And rather than using another font, it's always better to copy and paste from the existing text for uniformity. We'll start with contact details here. Moving on to educational qualifications, let's add the appropriate heading and the name of the course or degree or diploma, whatever you have. We can then move on to adding skills because that's an important point to mention in the resume. I'm going to add bullets to this as well to make it look neater. Another heading can be languages known, which is usually present in most of the resumes. And lastly, hobbies can be another heading because hobbies show personality beyond work and can also highlight transferable skills. And that completes our resume. Oops, I see I mistakenly moved the heading here instead of copying it, so let's fix that. And one last thing we need to do. Remember we added a stroke to our image, which got vanished when we used the clipping mask? Let's just add a drop shadow to this circle now. To add it, let's select the circle and then go to the FX option that sits at the bottom of the appearance panel. Then go to the stylize option and select drop shadow. In the pop-up menu, just add the values as illustrated or whatever values make you happy and hit OK. To print it to PDF, simply go to File and then Export and select Export as option. Change the Save As type to Adobe PDF and give your file a name. And since this is the only page, the Use Artboards option remains untouched, so just hit Export. In the pop-up menu under PDF preset, I'll select High Quality Print from the drop-down menu. And since we want to view it after saving, let's check this option as well. And then hit Export. So this is how our file looks. Do let me know how you like it. Okay, that concludes our session. So do like, share, and subscribe to my channel until we meet again with another exciting tutorial. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.